Daniel Erving was 18 years old, an honor roll student, a member of his swim team, a strong, healthy young athlete, and his friends, quotation marks, say he drowned. I'll be back. Hello everyone, those returning, appreciate you. First timers, you're welcome. It's unfortunate that I have to bring this case to you because, this is ridiculous. But I wanted to share it to you guys, or share it with you guys. I believe you guys would like to know about this if you haven't already heard about it. Another 19-year-old black child, unalive or drowned while he was in the presence of two white friends, and friends is in quotation marks. Okay, let me get into this article. The fight for accountability in the one black teenager's drowning death is starting to show results. Two white teenagers are now facing charges in the investigation. Lucas Roper, 19, and 16-year-old were arrested last week in Rowlett, Texas. The two are facing tampering with evidence charges in connection with the death of 18-year-old Daniel Erving. The Rowlett Police Department said Erving disappeared on April the 13th around 4:45 p.m. from his home in Woodlands Trail. His family told police his behavior was very out of character. The teenager's mother, Tamiko Erving, told investigators he was getting picked up to go fishing with his friends. Erving left his home with his cell phone. Investigators said he didn't take his driver's license, money, or personal belongings. He also does not have a car. Police confirmed Erving's body from Lake Ray Hubbard on April the 17th, 4 days after he disappeared. According to the affidavit obtained by CBS News, Roper, Erving, and the 16-year-old jumped into the lake from a bridge, and the black teen did not resurface. The affidavit claimed that Roper and the other teen threw Erving's clothes above the water before driving away in Roper's vehicle. It also claims the pair threw Erving's cell phone out. That doesn't sound like the actions of a friend, and it doesn't sound like something you would do if it was an accident. If you cared about the person, it seemed like the first thing you would do is to call 911, right? Ask for some emergency assistance. Let's go on. Investigators fell silent for several months. Erving's family, along with community advocacy groups, held a news conference in late April to demand answers. This case represents a complete breakdown in urgency, accountability, and equal justice. A young black student goes missing, and instead of immediate action, his family is met with delay and dismissal. Dominique Alexander, president of the Next Generation Action Network, told reporters, "Then we learned that individuals were present when he died, failed to call for help, failed to report it, and are still not in custody." Now, before I go further with the article, I'm going to play some clips for you guys. I have clips from white people saying, no, they did it. They harmed those black young men. And then I have our young man in reference to Nolan Wells. And then I have clips from two black women who share their experience with being the only black friend. Check this out.
I used to be just like Nolan Wells, the only black girl in an all-white friend group, and just like Nolan, I thought they were my friends too. I used to argue with my stepfather. He used to tell me, they are not your friends, and I'd be like, yes, they are my friends. And my stepfather said, when you get some knowledge of self, you're going to see if they really are your friends, because black pride will tell you whether or not your white friends are really your friends. Because let me tell you, the white boys, the white girls in my school, they loved me until I got knowledge of self. And I will never forget the day that it happened. I was 14 years old, and this white boy named Wayne Colby that I went to high school with liked me and asked me to go to the mall with him and his friends. And we went to the mall, went shopping, and on the way back, his friend said, I have a joke, but I can't tell it because Shari's in the car. And Wayne and his friend, this is how locked in I was. They said, you can tell it. Shari is cool. She's not going to get offended like that. And y'all know his friend said, what are the similarities between a black woman and a vagina? And the answer was, they both have kinky hair, big lips, and stink. And all of these white boys in the car started laughing, including the white boy that liked me. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I was stuck because I really thought these white kids weren't racist. My stepfather had been telling me the whole time, like, they ain't your real friends, they this, they that. And I was like, no, they're not, no, they're not. And y'all, when I got out that car, I ran into my house crying. And my stepfather came downstairs and was like, what is wrong? My stepfather gave me a book called The Brodophile that I read over the weekend. I came to school on a Monday and started kicking it to my white friends that I think that Jesus may be a black man and all those type of things. It switched up on me real quick. When I refused to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance, those white friends that I thought were my friends since 9th grade and they loved me and everything, all that switched up. I mean, I was locked in where they would want me to sleep over their house. I'd be the only black girl in the friend group, but my mother was always very cautious. No disrespect, because oftentimes those white families were much more lackadaisical. Their children would be smoking, drinking, and things like that. My curfew was 9 o'clock at 11th grade. So my mother didn't play around like their parents had leeway for them. And the last straw for me was when I realized my white friends would not be uncomfortable for me. They didn't think it was uncomfortable for me to be hanging out with them and be the only black girl with them at their house, with their friends, even sometimes being around friends that they knew and would say, oh yeah, her parents are racist and this and that. And they still would think that I should be comfortable around them. I'll never forget, I asked them to go to Iverson Mall with me. And anyone in the DMV knows Iverson Mall is a black mall. And my best white friend was like, I can't go to that mall. And I'm like, why? And she's like, basically was not comfortable going to that mall. And that's when I knew I couldn't be her friend anymore. Plus, she had kissed this black boy. And as much as her mama, brothers, and everybody loved me, she was terrified that her family would find out, because she told me her family, her brothers would black out if they found out she kissed this black boy. Now, here it is. I'm sleeping at your house. Your mama say she loved me. Your daddy, everybody loved me. But they gonna do what to you if they found out you kissed the black boy? Those two things can't exist at the same time. I can't be your friend, but also know that your daddy, mama, and brother that I'm around will basically disown you if they find out you kissed a black man. Have a good day.
Two things she said stood out. When she said they had no regards for how she felt. You know, I'm sure somebody around knew that wasn't appropriate, saying that racist joke around her. And she was the only female. And then it was sexual in nature, of course, you know. Surprise, surprise. And then it's weird how these people are always saying we smell. But again, I'm going to reiterate, I've never been to a gym or been around a lot of black people after working out or what have you, and we smelled like a dog. Never, ever smelling like a dog. But I've went to a gym where it was predominantly white, and I thought, you know, somebody let their dogs loose. Dogs run loose in the gym. So, and another thing that stood out was how she said her mom didn't play. That their parents were loose. Didn't have too many boundaries up for them, and they can, you know, get high, smoke, do whatever. But her mom was like, no, you're not participating in that. Bring your ass home. And I've heard that multiple times from black folks mainly black people who went to school with predominantly white people. Their parents were loose when it came to disciplines and boundaries. While our parents were like, My sister went to a predominant white junior high school, and she hated it. This is when California wanted to make people integrate again. And she said those kids were fast. I'm junior high school. She said they were doing hardcore dope and very promiscuous. So they're always trying to make it seem like we don't have any morals and we're corrupt. Just because you guys see these videos, that doesn't represent us. It doesn't represent Black America. Just like you want us to believe that what we see and hear about you don't represent you. So let's go on.
People's business, but I want you to know that we know that they killed that boy. He was the only Black gentleman in a group of 4 boys in Mississippi, and an altercation broke out just as Nolan was talking to a female, talking to a girl, excited about talking to a girl. How much you want to bet nobody liked that he was in Mississippi talking to a white girl? Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know the racist experience. I'm not going to pretend I know the Black experience, but I know the same thing that I knew when Tamla Horsford died, and that is that a single Black human does not go out or into a group of all white people, come out dead, nobody knows what fucking happened, and it's not their fault. There is a reason they say, don't play in the snow by yourself, it's cold. There is a reason they say, don't play in the snow by yourself, it's cold.
Man, I wish she would have elaborated just a little bit. Just a little. I don't like when people bring something up and then be like, that's all I'm gonna say. No, we want to know what you're saying. I can assume, don't go in the snow by yourself, it's cold. Sound like she's saying you guys are cold, and who can dispute that? You notice I didn't say some of you are cold, because I notice that when a lot of people are speaking derogatorily about Black folks, they rarely say some Black people. It's always like the whole gamut of us. Let's continue.
And that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say that I am terribly, terribly sorry to his family, and I am terribly, terribly sorry about what happened to him. And we all know they fucking did it. And I want you to know that we know they didn't. A grown Black man does not go out with a bunch of white fucking boys in Mississippi, hear that he's talking to a white girl, he disappears, nobody knows what fucking happened, but now his body's there. No, I'm sorry, fuck off. We know what happened to that boy.
When you are the only Black friend out of the friend group, you almost always are going to be the one. When the police come, you the one going to catch the charge. When the hoes come around, we got to make somebody look stupid so we can get fucked or look cool, you going to be the fucking big. You cannot be the only Black one. So the fact that you can't be the only Black one as an adult, how the fuck can you be the only Black one as a 13-year-old?
Let me read these comments to you guys right quick, and then I'm going to play some more clips, and then I'm going to get back to the article. But someone wrote a comment on one of my shorts. I think it was like the short that said, the only Black friend or something. And she said, I'm trying to understand why any Black person would have an all-white friend group. I came in and said, when you find out, please share it with all of us who wonder the same thing. I wasn't trying to be funny. I wasn't trying to do all that, because there's an obvious difference between us, and it's not just looks. It's our sense of humor, culture, the way we relate to certain things, jokes. Oh my God, the jokes, night and day. Just overall, there's a difference. I feel like as a Black person, like, it's almost like eating food with no seasoning. Like, how does that even, do you, when you're in an all white group, do you find yourself saying, oh my God, how did I get here? Are you so removed from Black people that you just don't even notice the difference? To me, that you have to be so far removed from Black people, Black Americans, to not notice there's a difference. And then I was also thinking, these Black folks who, pride themselves on being the only Black person in a friend group, now that we're having this national discussion about Black friends, white friend groups, are you like feeling a little, strange? Are you feeling a little like, so not special anymore because we're seeing what goes on in private? And we're looking at you like, are you okay? Then someone else left a comment. They said, my homegirl Cece said, child, ain't nowhere in the world I'm going to be around a group of white people and I'm the only Black person around. I said, in all honesty, because of the history, because of the dark, morbid history between white and Black people in this country, white American and black American. Well, she wasn't even just white Americans. It was Europeans and white Americans, because of the dark, brutal, barbaric history between us. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I sure wouldn't. And then they smiling in my face, being deceitful, you know. I always had that in the back of my mind. Is this genuine or is this like fake? You know? Let's continue.
This woke white woman tells the truth about this Nolan Wells situation.
If the situations were reversed, if the circumstances were reversed, and it was 3 black boys who took a white boy out, and the 3 black boys came back and the white boy did not, it wouldn't matter that they didn't know what happened. Those 3 black boys would have been in handcuffs. Those 3 black boys would still be in questioning to this day. I can see the Fox News headline now, right? They would have used it as proof. See? We told you black people were dangerous. We told you black people were bad.
And that's big facts. The double standard is real in America. If 3 black boys went to an island with 1 white boy, and those 3 black boys came back from that island without that 1 white boy, and that 1 white boy was found dead, those 3 black boys would immediately be arrested, and those 3 black boys would immediately be looked at as guilty.
I dare you to say both of them were lying. As a matter of fact, I dare you to say both of them were lying, because if it were reversed, and those 5 black boys or young men went back home talking about, we don't know what Chad did. We don't know what happened to Chad. And then they had Chad's phone on their person and didn't call his parents and give him the phone. Those black boys wouldn't have been able to go out to breakfast the next day having pancakes, discussing their next move. It would have been like the old days. Where's the rope? You might be saying she's a little crude. Yeah, okay, well, the history of white on black violence was beyond crude. Let's continue.
This entire situation with that poor boy Nolan Wells who's found unalived, it just reminds me how scary and dangerous it can be to be the only black person in white spaces. I think back to my own childhood, and I had a best friend when I was growing up. I was in middle school. We'll just call her Sarah. She was white. And I remember multiple racist things that happened that still scar me to this day as being the only black kid around white people. Now, my parents told me about racism. I was very well aware, but we went to a predominantly white church. That's a story for another day. And let me just say, a lot of my friends were white girls, and I wanted to fit in so badly because those were the friends I had. And I wanted friends. And I'm also neurodivergent, so there were a lot of things that I just missed, and these girls were not my friend. They were not my friend. I don't even know why they invited me. So one example is I went to this sleepover. My friend Sarah, we'll call her Sarah, was having a sleepover. She had this giant house. She had a pool. And I remember begging my parents if I could go, because my parents were not big on sleepovers. Like, we only did family sleepovers. We were not the kids sleeping over. And so they knew her parents. And so they were like, okay, you can go. And I was so excited. So picture this. It's me, only black girl. All white girls. We're in the basement getting ready to watch movies and have candy and all the things and stay up late. And we're getting our pajamas on. My mom had done this really cute hairstyle for my gorgeous 4C kinky, curly, coily hair. She did like cornrows in the front, and then the rest was just a puff. So it was like a very, very easy style to have. And so I was taking my puff out and getting ready to wrap my hair and put my scarf on. And I'm just in the corner, like, doing my thing. And all of a sudden I take my puff out, and we all know our hair grows to the sky. So when we take our hair out, it doesn't fall. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so I take my puff out, and it's just like there. And my friend Sarah looks over. She's like, oh my God, look at Brittany's hair. It's just like straight up. And everyone whips their head around and starts staring. And she just keeps going. She's like, oh my God, why does it do that? Da, da, da. And at the time, I was in middle school. I didn't have the discernment. I didn't have the confidence to be like, yeah, so what? This is how my hair is. This is what it does. Da, da, da. I was just like instantly put on guard. And so then I need to stop calling her my friend. She starts doing this. She starts being like, my hair doesn't do that. Can I get my hair to do that? My hair doesn't stay up. And so I just went to the bathroom and I cried, and I just like stayed in the bathroom for like 20 minutes, and I just felt so othered. But I never told my parents. I never told them about it, because I knew that if I told them, they would have been like, absolutely not. Another thing that happened when I was with the same friend, we all laid out at the pool, her pool, all day. Needless to say, I got several shades darker, as one would when you're out in the sun. And when I came inside, I remember I was just sitting there, and I was wearing a white t-shirt, and she goes, you're so black. You got so dark. Oh my God, you're like 5 shades blacker. You're so black. You're so, like, I almost can't even see you. Like, she just kept going. And at the time, I sort of laughed it off, which I'm embarrassed that I laughed it off. But at the time, I just was like, I just didn't know what to do. Again, didn't tell my parents. Another time, I went on vacation with this girl because she was really well off, and her parents would let her take a friend on vacation. Again, so excited. I begged my parents if I could go, and they were like, okay, yes, you can go. We end up traveling to one of their family members' houses, and as we're at the table eating dinner, one of them is talking about how lazy black people are, and black people are so lazy. And I think she forgot I was sitting there because they're so used to just being able to talk freely. They forgot a black kid was right there. And I remember just being like, stunned and like, I think I was shaking, but I didn't say anything. And then after the fact, I think they realized like, oh my God, Brittany was there. And so the lady like pulls me aside, which is so uncomfortable. And the mom of my friend should have been there. Like looking back on that, I'm like, she should have been there as like my advocate, but no. So this lady pulls me aside. She's like, oh, I just wanted to apologize. Like I said a few things, like I just didn't realize. And I remember just kind of shaking my head, smiling, just being like, And then I remember going into the shower and crying for like 30 minutes because I didn't know what to do. I felt so othered. I felt so not okay. And I didn't want to tell my parents because I was on this trip and I didn't know what to do. And it breaks my heart that there are so many other Black kids who've had this experience. And I vowed to make sure my kids always had a multicultural experience because I'm like, I don't want, it was awful. And looking back on it, I'm like, girl, you should never have been friends with those girls. They were not your friends. And it's crazy to think that so many people will be like, oh, every white kid has like a little racist phase. It's like, what do you mean a little racist phase? That traumatizes other Black kids. Like, I still feel traumatized from that. I'm turning 40 this year and I still remember that situation like it just happened.
To teach your kids, especially your kids that are hanging out with rich white kids, that is not good. You gotta stop letting them hang out with rich white kids. This Nolan Wells situation never should have happened. The parents of Nolan Wells should have known better than to let him hang out with these kids. I have an older son. I'm not saying it's the parents' fault, but I'm just saying it happens all the time. My older son is half Black. He looked more Black than he did half. But he got into a similar situation. He was fighting with a bunch of rich kids in North Atlanta, the North Atlanta suburbs, the richest neighborhood in Cherokee County, Georgia. And he was fighting with a bunch of boys over a girl. And lucky for him, he didn't wind up dead. He just wound up locked up for a while. But it could have wound up with him being killed. And, we as parents, we have to do a better job in informing our children about who they should and shouldn't hang out with, because matters. The color of your skin matters, especially when you're hanging out with a bunch of rich kids that have, doctors and lawyers and judges as parents. You know that your kid is going to either wind up locked up or dead.
So every other week, another Black boy gets lynched by some white teenagers. Now, white people will look you dead in the eyes and say, well, actually, the real racism that happens nowadays is the racism towards white people. Because someone called me racist the other day, and that hurt my feelings.
You notice he said another Black boy gets lynched, being around a whole bunch of white boys, kids, young adults. He said lynched. Someone said that, what's her name? Lowdown. She said in her video, she said it's like people are saying like, they're not doing it like they used to, like their grandparents and parents used to do it, string them up in trees. Well, yeah, they're still doing it, but they're saying that the people unalive themselves, like, okay, yeah, whatever. But now they're having their children do it. You're one Black child around 20, 50, all white kids, young adults, teenagers, whatever, and your Black child ends up unalived or missing. These people really think we're stupid. That's just out of all the people that Black child was around, something happened to them. Nobody else. Okay, but let's continue with this article so I can wrap this up, folks. Atlanta Black Star requested the police report for the case to confirm Erving's friends didn't call for help. Dallas Police Chief Daniel Cominax told CBS News in June his department was now looking into the teenager's death. We recognize that investigations must be guided by evidence and the law. At the same time, accountability requires that every fact be fully investigated and every potential violation of the law be carefully evaluated, he said. Authorities confirmed Roper admitted to driving off and ordering the other teenager to toss Erving's phone. In a separate interview, CBS News reported the other teenager told police Roper himself threw out Erving's clothes. Roper also allegedly deleted the call log and text messages from Erving's cell phone. The two suspects let Daniel Erving sit on the bottom of Lake Ray Hubbard for 4 days, the family's attorney Sean Dorado told Fox 4 News. They went to school, they lived their lives. If it's an accident, why hide the clothes? Why flee the scene? Why toss Daniel Erving's cell phone off the car? Erving's sister took to social media at the Roupert's arrest, indicating that more people were involved. An arrest has finally been made in connection with my brother Daniel, Mike Erving's case, but only one of the suspects has been taken into custody. During a news conference Monday in Dallas, Erving's family expressed their frustration to reporters. A reasonable-minded person would know if you are not guilty of a crime, why would you throw away his clothes and delete messages and not even call his mother? Tamiko Erving said, according to Fox 4 News, I want justice for my son. The Erving family said Daniel was a skilled, healthy swimmer who was comfortable in the water. Dorado insisted the narrative of an accidental drowning does not add up. We won't accept tampering charges, he said, reportedly urging prosecutors to add murder charges. Take the evidence to a grand jury and bring the appropriate charges. Jail workers confirmed that Rowlett posted his $10,000 bond over the weekend. Black Atlanta star found Rowlett on Instagram. Our reporter reached out to him for comment but hasn't heard back. After 3 months, this is all that has been done. And now that this case is gaining attention and going viral, it suddenly seems like the Dallas County Sheriff Department and Rowlett Police Department are starting to make moves. This is unacceptable, Cinco said on Facebook. Atlanta Black Star reached out to the Rowlett Police Department and received the following statement. Because this is an active and ongoing investigation, we are unable to release information at this time, as doing so could compromise the integrity of the investigation process. For update or questions regarding Daniel's case, we respectfully refer all inquiries to the Dallas Police Department. The Rowlett Police Department remains committed to fully cooperating with the Dallas Police Department until the investigation is complete. That is so sad that the only way people will do their job is because they're afraid of the publicity. So in other words, if this case wasn't gaining traction and national attention, those I doubt if what's his name, Roper, would have been arrested, because the actions, the things that they do after the fact is questionable. I know if I have a friend and something happens to my friend, I'm not going to abandon their clothes. I'm not going to take off. Don't tell the family. Don't alert the police, emergency services, and have their phone with me. You know, when you look at some of these movies, something happened to a person and they find the cell phone of the victim in a car or in a closet of someone's closet. And they're like, well, why do you have this? Thought you said you didn't know what happened to Peter. You didn't know what happened to Tamika. Why do you have their phone? Why are the text messages deleted? They would immediately be arrested. And then you guys want to keep acting like there's no disparities when it comes to this justice system in this country when it comes to black and white. I remember to this day, it was a white young lady said that she comes from a good family. They had the money to hire a good attorney. She did the same thing that a black woman did. It had to do with rugs. She got probation. The black woman got 20 years. She said there's a great disparity. A white young man said the same thing, but he did. No, I think it was rug related. He got probation because they didn't want to mess up this white young man's bright future. And then the black man, they threw the book at him because they was like, after all, we're saving his life. He probably would have went out there and who knows. I can't stand that we live in a country that want to pretend and lie and cover up and act like they don't do black people different or treat black people different than they do white people. Why? We're in 2026. When are you guys gonna stop lying? You see this country is barely hanging on by a thread that is unraveling, and you're still lying. You're still lying. Like I tell people when I talk about the state of this country, and one day, you know, everything is going to implode. All the dark secrets are going to come out to the light. I don't care how much you guys are fighting to keep it hidden. It's all what's done in the dark always come to the light. I said it doesn't matter. These people are going to roll it till the wheels fall off, and they're going to still continue to try to hide the truth. If that's the way it got to go, then that's the way it got to go. It just means that your repercussions are going to be worse. You keep trying to make us look worse than you. You keep projecting, trying to make us look worse than you. But I tell you one thing, you can never say that your white child hung around black children and never came back home. You can never say that. And I'm going to end my case with that, folks. Thank you. Those who checked out this entire video, thank you so much. And I'm about to be out. If I hear anything else about this case, I'll bring it to you guys. Other than that, I'm out. And also, folks, I have started another channel where I'm going to talk about mystery disappearances and mysterious disappearances, cold cases. Whoo! I'm gonna do it. I uploaded one. I put matter of fact, I'm going to put the link to the channel in this description. Folks, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you guys supporting the sister in my mystery case, disappearance case journeys. Appreciate it very much. All right, folks, I'm out. See you in the next video.